Hello everyone, my name is Miro and welcome to my channel. Today I have a confession to make and I'm not entirely sure how to say it because, well, I'm not very confident in it. Here it is, I suppose. I think my grow tent is not working out for me, and I think that you know that too. I have a feeling that this has been pretty clear for quite some time. At least to me, it's been clear for quite some time, and I've had a very hard time accepting this. After all, grow tents work out for so many Hoya growers, so have I failed? Well, I think not. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think that grow tents are great. In fact, they are fantastic. I just think that right now, for me, it is just not doing me any favors. And believe me what I tell you, it has not been easy to come to this realization. I did try to push through this. I was trying really, really hard to make it work. I was quite stubborn about it. I mean, after all, I am a Taurus. And I'm just very tired now. I'm very tired, and I think it's time to face the reality of the situation that we have on our hands. And I think the reason why I persisted for so long in trying to make that grow tent work, despite realizing for at least a year, maybe even more than that, that it's just not the right fit, is not that surprising, really. If you regularly watch my channel, you may have caught on to some negative patterns that I have, some negative habits that I have. And I used to think this was simply stubbornness, but I actually think the problem is slightly bigger than that. There is a cognitive bias called loss aversion, where we perceive the same situation worse if it is framed as a loss rather than a gain. And this is quite common, and it's something that I personally still struggle very much with, and I think a lot of people struggle with this a lot. For example, we tend to stay in jobs that we don't really like, even despite realizing they are not the right fit for us, because letting go is perceived as a loss or a failure. And I personally relate to this, and I recently experienced this with my second job, where for months, really, it has been clear to me that this is just not the right fit. It's not going to work out. And more importantly, it is not at all what I signed up for. And I think to the people who employed me, they also didn't realize what they wanted. And, it took them a while to realize what they got is not what they wanted, that they wanted something else entirely. And this has impacted everything that I love, my channel, my plant collection, and it sort of stopped me from creating my own brand, which is something that I constantly work on. But letting go of this second job, of this opportunity, felt really stupid and not very prudent, especially not in this economy, right? And how can I let go of this income that I truly need, even though it's not working out, and most likely it never will? And months before I was let go, I was very frustrated. It became clear to me I needed to leave, but I didn't take any action. Instead, I just sat there in my frustration and I waited and persisted until finally someone else had to make that decision for me. But also, back when I was studying architecture, I wanted to go into a PhD program after obtaining my master's degree, and I spent 4 years working for free at the university as a teaching fellow. I worked at 2 different faculties, teaching several different courses, just to prove my worth. And all of that despite being one of the top 2 students of my generation, along with my best friend, which is a story I constantly tell here. And it just took me such a long time to understand that you cannot prove your worth to someone who doesn't see it right away and who just sees you as an expendable. You can't do that, not when you have already proven that you are good at what you do. But this was a life that I knew, and I committed for 6 years. And this is where cognitive entrenchment actually comes into picture. It was a path I chose, I identified with, and I very much committed to. So who am I without it? All of this also really becomes an issue in relationships and in friendships. I have been in friendships where I felt underappreciated, taken for granted, and despite all of that, I stayed and made myself available, more than available, at all times. And it has become obvious, I think, to both parties, or to all parties included, that we have just grown apart. We developed into very, very different people than who we were at the start of the friendship. But how do you move on from someone or something that you identified with and that has been part of your life for over a decade in some of these cases? I think it takes a great deal of effort to shift away from the patterns that we create for ourselves. And sometimes it is not entirely possible to do that all by yourself. And sometimes you need outside influence or outside support to do so. And this is why I am happy to talk about the paid partner of today's video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform, and their mission is to make starting therapy easier, because starting therapy and taking that first step can actually be a really big challenge for a lot of people. They connect you with a credentialed therapist who is trained to listen to you and give you helpful and unbiased advice. All you need to do is fill out a quick questionnaire and you will be matched with a credentialed therapist as soon as possible. And if for whatever reason the therapist that you get matched with doesn't work out for you, it is easy to switch to another one with no extra cost to you. With over 7,000 reviews and 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can truly trust. You can click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/basieplans. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basieplans to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Thank you, BetterHelp, for being the paid partner of this video. And now, since we have figured out the grow tent is not working out for me, let's muster up some courage, strength, brew coffee, etc., and get ready to work. Do something. Make popcorn, whatever. You can watch this with food, I don't care, but also you can do plant chores with me. It's gonna be a long one, I think. So, I think I will just brainwash you all to clip your toenails while you watch my videos. Where is this obsession coming from? All right, so here is the tent. As we can see, I have crap on top of it, as I always do, which is something I don't love. And once it's gone, we will have to actually find a space for all that crap, which I think will potentially improve the clutter in the room. It's time to start taking some plants out. I already did about half of the tent, and I showered and sprayed those plants. There is about half of the tent left in there, and I only have a singular prop box. I have the other half of the tent in prop boxes just so I can move the plants around easily. Actually, one of them is on top of the tent. I have been postponing this for a minute because at the time when I started to empty out my grow tent, a lot, if not all of these Hoyas need to be watered, and well, half of them did get water, but the other half didn't. So I have been just avoiding facing that, and this is actually one of the main cons, I would say, of having a grow tent, is that you don't see those plants every single day. You don't realize they need water, and then by the time that information comes to your head, it's been a week or more, and then you are afraid to open your grow tent, and instead of doing it, you keep postponing and postponing, and the problem just gets scarier. It does not become easier. So that is where we are at. The main con, I would say, is this feeling of overwhelm. I'm pretty overwhelmed by this right now. I know I have to face it. I know I have to water those plants, and it's always very easy. It never takes too much time that I have to water them, but actually getting yourself to do it, that's the hard part, especially when you have stuff in front of the tent and you didn't tend to it for a couple of weeks. Then it's pretty scary. I do have several pros and cons, and I think they pretty much even each other out, and there is really no strong case for why I should take down this grow tent, except that I do believe it will make things easier. I think the watering will be easier because I will see plants and I will just have one less barrier to water those plants or to take care of them. And that's really the main theme that you are going to hear me talk about in this video, is this barrier between you and your planned task that needs to be done. Or actually, I think this is true for any of the tasks. So I'm really looking to simplify things for myself, remove the tent, and then I will not have this barrier, right, between me and the planned tasks. We will talk about pros and cons more. I just need to open the tent, be brave, be courageous, and just face it. Let's just face it. All right, nothing looks too terrifying. We do see a couple of yellow stuff, but that's fine. So, as I said, not many plants are left, really only on this side. I love how I say not many plants are left, but there's like 40 plants for sure. I just counted 51 plants. There's not too many plants left. 51. Oh my goodness. So few. That is someone's entire plant collection. That is in fact bigger than many normal people's plant collection. So let's just begin. I do not love what I see with some of these, but you know, we just hope it's gonna be better. My goodness. As I take them out, I will just take them to the shower and quickly water these plants. They do need to be hydrated, and I need to be very careful not to give them way too much water, because something that can happen is that they can get overwatered at this point pretty easily. By the way, what the idea is when I remove the tent, first of all, the light that's in the tent, I will try to mount it on the ceiling. So we do need to drill the ceiling, but that's absolutely not happening today. Oh, I see a prop box up there. How lucky. So we are going to drill the ceiling and hang up that light, and then I will try essentially to keep the Hoyas only to one side. So on this wall, I will essentially go with the shelves as far up as I can. I think 3 levels will be possible. I do have some lights here. I have three 120 centimeter lights. I think when I put the shelves, they will be 180 long. So we'll just have to see how we will position that light. And then the light on top will not cover as much as in the tent because it's in the open space. There's no reflective surfaces except for, you know, the white wall. That will bounce back some light, but it's just not going to be the same. Now, the good side is these philodendrons here are going to get some extra light from that. So that is great, we love it, but it will be less intense than in the tent. And that might be good because I have removed some of the Hoyas from my cabinet. For example, my Hoya Locantha, she's looking fantastic now. Much better than she was in the cabinet. I could never get the light correct, and now when I put it in what I would deem as no light, she is thriving. Okay, there are 31 plants out, so we have about 21 to go. So I will just go and fetch prop boxes because the bathroom is busy, so I can't water these right now. But it seems that I will be able to get this out, and I do need to leave to pick up some Hoyas pretty quickly here in about half an hour, so I'm at least glad I'm getting this done. So I will feel much better, and then maybe by the outing I will get rejuvenated and I will feel like doing more work. So far, I'm feeling already a little bit better. I gotta tell you, I came into this with pretty low energy. The energy was at around 2.5 out of 10. So not amazing, right? But you know, we'll try to get that up to at least like 5 so we can deal with this. I'm a little bit concerned about these soils growing outside of the grow tent and if they will bloom. I guess we just have to try and see. That's another thing about this is it doesn't have to be a forever solution. I can just try it, see if I like it or if I don't. If I don't like it, I can just put it back up. It's not that difficult. It is taxing energetically, right? You do need a lot of energy to take this down and put it up, but I don't need to make a big deal out of it like if I take this down, something terrible will happen. It's just like, you know, let's give it a go. Let's see if we like it. If we do, great. If we don't, well, at least I tried it. I have mostly packed away all of the plants. I do have some of them that did not fit in any of the boxes. So I will just put those someplace else around the room, and I do think that I will have enough energy to... I'm not in the frame, am I? Hi. And I do think I will have enough energy to take down the tent. Mostly because I had an accident. It's when you lay your head and you take a nap unwillingly. It just comes and snatches you from the conscious world? Who knows? It also does seem that I will not be picking up my Hoyas today, so that does mean we have a little bit more time for this lovely work, this beautiful work that we love to do. But you may be wondering, why the heck am I taking down the tent and what are the pros and the cons? So I think one of the biggest pros is that this will be more aesthetically pleasing. I think we can all agree from design perspective, having a huge black box is, number one, extremely suspicious. Number two, not very beautiful. Most of the people who come into my room and they don't know me don't even think this is a grow tent. They think it's just like some weird cloth closet, and they do get surprised, which, I mean, that doesn't matter as much. But for me, it is also an eyesore, obviously, this tent. And I have seen many beautiful tents on the inside, but on the outside, it's just not giving. It's not giving. I would like my plants to be visible. I know I said in the past that it does give you that break from the plants, and that's true. But also, I just, it's okay to change your perspective a little bit. I do not love the look of the tent, and I don't think it looks nice. And I'm very interested to see what the plant collection is going to look when the tent is not here. Now, the shelves that are gonna stay are the green Omar shelves from IKEA. They're not also extremely beautiful, but the plants will be visible. And I'm sort of hoping for like a full wall of plants that's gonna look very nice and green, healthy, etc. So I think it does have a potential to look better than this, which is not really hard. Another pro is I do believe that the mealybug treatment will become easier. I think what prevents me is that barrier to treat my plants regularly. And don't get me wrong, I did manage to treat them pretty regularly, but that was from April to, I would say, June. And now I would just like my plants to be on a shelf and I can frequently inspect them, more frequently than when they're closed off in a grow tent, and I can spot the issue right away. I think what pushed me over the edge is the last inspection when I just caught mealybugs in a lower corner of my grow tent, and to be quite fair, maybe I have not inspected that lower corner for maybe a month at most, but not more than a month. And there was quite a lot of mealybugs. And I also saw mealybugs crawling on the floor and on the wall of the grow tent, which is something I've never seen. We're just gonna try to see if I'm correct. I do believe that the mealybug treatment will be easier without this thing here. I also think potentially the conditions are going to be slightly less favorable for the mealybugs, so a little bit less heat, a little bit less humidity, so maybe they're just going to be procreating a little bit less as well. Another big reason is I do believe that the watering will become easier. Again, it's just much easier when your plants are on a shelf. I can just walk in here and water them. You also have to understand, I'm tall. I think we can see. I'm as tall as the tent. Why do I look taller on the camera? I don't know. Maybe if I move a little bit. But yeah, I'm as tall as the tent. I am 196 centimeters tall. The tent is 200. The light has to be lower. So I cannot water normally. I have to go like this, and I'm 33. I'm 33, and that's not a position I want to be in. And especially when I have plants all the way down, it's just a very cramped space. I need a lot of space to move around. I just need this and this. I need more space. I need more space, and I don't have that in the tent. It's very claustrophobic. I don't like it. I always knock something over when I water, so I hope that's gonna change. Again, I'm really hoping that we can just shove everything on a singular shelf. Obviously, I would more prefer if I had enough resources to build like a nice glass shelf, couple of them, or not a shelf, a cabinet, but that's just not a possibility right now. Another big thing that I never solved in my grow tent is the airflow. And I have been told several times by people who do grow Hoyas in the tent that actually what helped them more is not the tent, but the airflow. When they get the airflow in the tent, it's when they see their Hoyas explode with the growth. And I don't think my Hoyas ever really exploded with the growth. In the grow tent, they were doing well, but I don't know, compared to the ones in the cabinet and maybe even the ones in the room, nothing super amazing. So airflow is something that I probably should have solved. And I mean, it's possible. I would just need to buy several fans. And I just decided, no, I'm not going to be doing that. Instead, I'm just going to take down the thing and there is going to be more air. Last one is the better connection with the plants because I will be seeing them all the time. I will be noticing more when they need water, when they have pests. I think it will also be easier for me to decide who to keep and who not to keep. Keep going back and forth because I have my pros and cons on my tablet that keeps shutting off. Stop it. I'm looking at you. Now to talk about the cons, which they're, significant. I do worry about humidity. This room has pretty high humidity. I don't have the problem that most of the people do, which is the low humidity in their space. It's actually quite the opposite here. Typically in winter, it's the winter usually, the humidity gets to be in the 60s very easily, 65, sometimes even 75. And I'm just concerned that the humidity will increase by a lot when I remove the grow tent. I'm also concerned a little bit about the humidity around the plants, but I don't have a humidifier in the tent. And yes, it is slightly higher, but I think maybe by 5 to 10%, which I think it's going to be in the end negligible. I hope so. But I just don't think that the humidity in the room is that much lower. I think the AC might become the issue in summer because it's right up there. But we will just cross that bridge when we get to it, right? I don't know what to tell you, but humidity is definitely a concern. I also worry that the plants are going to dry out a lot faster. All the mixes are pretty much tailored for either a cabinet or the tent, but a lot of these plants are in self-watering. I have quite a few that are not, so I think I will get to utilize those reservoirs more because I don't utilize them that much now because it's not that necessary in a grow tent. The light in the room, my friend Dana said, you already have so much light in your room. I'm just concerned when you take down the tent, it's going to be even more. And yes, but I think I will be reducing my light anyway. I think I give my plants around 12 to 14 hours. I think I'm gonna do 10 from now on. I'm pretty used to a lot of light by now. When I go into any other normal room with normal amount of light, I can't see anything. I'm like, I just need more. We will just see how much I will be bothered by that. I think not a lot, but it might be a little bit shocking for people who do come to visit me, thankfully. That's not too many. And then there is the concern of dust. There will be far more dust on the plants. I don't love the dust on the plants, but I gotta say that these aeroids, for example, they're not even that dusty. I don't shower them. I don't know, for whatever reason, they are not that dusty anymore. They used to be, but now all the dust seems to fall on the floor, so who knows. But I do plan to spray my plants on a regular basis, at least once a month, with Castile soap, which does really help. So not just showering, but actually using Castile soap to clean off the leaves. I found it to be just magnificent. The leaves look beautiful. Beautiful. I recommend it. I can't say that there are more pros or that they are more important than the cons. I think it's just going to be one of those things where we have to try it and see if what I gain is enough for me to live with what I'm gonna lose. If I do make a mistake, I will gladly think about either putting the tent back or downsizing enough so I can just put a couple of cabinets in there, which I don't think would be the worst. Most of these are really not tent Hoyas. I only am concerned about 2 or 3. I don't know if Siculatis will bloom as much, but those, for example, more rely on the light. Undulata, we'll see. Mitrata might not want to bloom because she likes higher humidity, but I think most of the other Hoyas are going to be fine. Maybe my Ivor Sherry, but we can always put some in the cabinet. I have a lot of Hoyas in my cabinet that could go just in the regular room conditions. So we might do a bit of a switcheroo when those Hoyas are treated enough times so there are no mealybugs in these, and then we can just switch them around and see. I guess we're gonna go in for like a lot of work. This was supposed to be a light day, but I guess finally at 6:19 p.m. the energy arrived. 6:19. Thank you very much.
No wonder why you said goodbye in such a rush. I guess you had your thing to do again. These lonesome days, an ocean wide, a grain of sand goes on, and I can't reach you now. We're forever lost together. There's nothing we can do. Our last endeavor against the weather has broken us in two. It's been a while, my anxious mind, my new best friend. A bitter taste that lingers on my tongue. Now it's too late, we drift away through space and time. I was too dumb to fight it, I can't reach you now. We're forever lost together, there's nothing we can do. Our last endeavor against the weather has broken us in two.
We are back with the shelves out, tent removed, and the light is on the ceiling, which you cannot see. Quite a big light, I'm not gonna lie. There are also spiders in the corner, which we need to deal with. So now we come to my least favorite part. Actually, I hate it. And that is hooking up these lights to power source, cable management, and figuring out what lights I'm going to put on the shelf. So the Hoyas are still looking messy. They need to be sprayed, which I will do. And I think the first row doesn't need any light. It's going to get light from the above, so that's fine. In the second row, right here, so for this shelf, I'm going to put one of these lights that I previously used in the tent, and it's gonna cover, I can use two, but I think that's going to be too much. I'm just going to do one of them, like so. The corners are not going to get amazing light, but we're just going to put lower light Hoyas in the corner. And then we have three shelf levels that will need lights, but they're all on different heights, so not in line like this. The problem with that is I only have two lights that I can use, two shorter lights that used to be in my cabinets. And I'm not entirely sure that these lights have a power supply. I might need to purchase that. I think perhaps there is a chance. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. Probably not. I'll probably need to purchase a power supply, but I will just install the lights and I will see then. I will look around the house if I have some cable lying around. I will need an additional light, so probably for the middle shelf there. The cable management, I need to drill a hole in the wall because I cannot hang the power supply. Also, one of the cables is being a little bit annoying. That is coming undone. I will probably need to order a 3M tape or something like that because the sticky tape on the back of that cable thingy, it just keeps falling off. So it's supposed to look like this. And it's being very annoying. Yeah. So one power supply is gonna go here with the spiders. Uh-oh, it's falling apart. For this one, I can put the power supply on the shelf. That's fine. The cable is long enough. The other cable isn't. And because I have the orchid wall there, it really is the only place where I can put the power supply, so somewhere on this side. Unfortunately, I don't see any other solution that is going to be good enough. For that to happen, I need to remove again the plants and the shelf because there's going to be a lot of dust from the drilling. You know, to just get a single hook, it's going to be a lot of work. I need to remove everything from here. Maybe not the shelf, but definitely the plants. But you know, these things take time. How can one have this much light and still be poorly lit is beyond me, but here we are. So as you can see, some things have changed here. I have put in the plants. You will see that I also added another shelf in the back, and I mostly put propagations on there, which were not done with all of this. And I think before I finish this, you will see actually another video because I need to go through those propagation boxes and see what's ready for the harshness of the open air. I will also put my anthuriums here, but they need to be treated for thrips, which I think is going to be a Patreon video. So That also needs to happen before I finish this. But a lot of the plants are here, not all of them. There's about maybe 20-ish plants that are missing. And as we can see, there's not light in all of the corners. On the bottom, there's almost no light at all. You will now see an unwell Wanda, but that's a topic for a different video. So in the back also there's no light, and the shelves here in the back, they also don't have any light. The Hoyas on the top obviously have the most. So what is going to happen now? I installed the lights on these shelves that are currently off, and that's because I didn't have the cable for them. I looked around and potentially there is a cable someplace, but I couldn't find it. But I think there's not, because I think I originally ordered 3 cables for these lights for 2 of my Radsta and for my Millsbow. The lights that I put here are just an extra for my Radsta because I decided to kind of chill out with the light. So I did end up ordering another cable because the lights, for whatever reason, don't come with one. You gotta pay separately. So here's the cable. We're gonna get that going, and I also ordered another light. Now this is the weakest light of them all, and with that in mind, I put the lower light Hoyas there on this shelf. The light I ordered is actually similar to this in terms of color. So there is a red light and there is just warm white, I believe. This is what the light looks like. It actually looks just like a regular hardware store light, but when I turned it on, because I had to buy another separate cable for it, it is actually the same like that light here. It's 8 watt only, and there is no branding. I have no idea what type of light this is. I just found it on Hydroponics website. It was about $7 in a discount per piece, plus additional $2 for the cable, so around $9. And I did turn it on off camera, and I do like the way that it looks. I'm thinking we might order more of these, potentially to replace the 16 watt lights that are in my cabinet, because those might be a bit too strong for some of those Hoyas, because with some of them there's virtually no space between the Hoya and the light. So we might actually go with something weaker than I initially put. And I'm thinking for my wooden cabinet as well, this wouldn't be the worst solution. I really wish there was some sort of branding so I could tell you, but it just says T5 LED grow light, 8 watts. Nothing else. I'm going to zip tie this in. In order to do that, I have to move some stuff around as always. I can actually just first plug this in. I did move some of my Hoyas that were in front of my cabinet here, because there is a little bit more space here. You absolutely see nothing. So right here. And that's because while they look very pretty in front of the cabinet, they do block my way. Optimistic vacuum cleaner here so I can vacuum. I think I have to actually move even the prop boxes out of the way because I can't access anything. Just moving things back and forth. That's what my life is. One of these has a very fantastic carnosa that grew spectacularly. This carnosa is the reason I decided to go with lower light, because she grew on the bottom of the tent in the prop box with less light, and the leaves are fantastic. I mean, hello, she is absolutely stunning. You will have seen her by now. Also, my Hoya Rangsan that I got is growing really well in the prop box. It does have a couple of mealybugs, so they're still separated. We will treat that before this video is up. There's an absolute mess of things in this prop box. Let's see. I'm gonna connect this light. I really hope I don't knock over something, but every single time I do. It works! So that's a little bit more light on the bottom. I think that's gonna be good. Now I'm just gonna connect this one. I typically remove everything before I connect the lights, but I'm just gonna try to do it the lazy way without removing stuff, which probably is not going to work out all that well for me, to be honest. All right, and perfect. That's a nice gentle light, actually. I like that. I don't know what you will see on the camera, but now it's a nice gentle light. It's not too much, I would say. So you can see that the entire shelf is now lit, except for that corner. That really looks dark. I might get another 8-watt light actually to put here, but I also have to remember the reason why I'm doing this is they were getting too much light in the tent, so this might just be fine. I shouldn't overdo the light. What I will do next is I will do some light cable management for those two lights, and then I'm just going to put things back. Now, the desk I'll probably not use here, though I could put a chair on this side, because that's how I used to use it. And even with this Hoya here, it does pull out. See, I could use my desk here. I will just have to be mindful of this vine. I can just work here, put my laptop here, look at the plants. It's not the most ideal thing, you know, but it's what we have. Anyway, back to work for me. I love to work. Just remember, you love working. You love working, you love cable management, you love it. You love it. I am back. I don't know what day of this whole process this is, but as you can see, I have managed to put a lot of the plants here. I've added the anthuriums. There are some Hoyas on top that are being treated for mealybugs. They're all actually being treated for mealybugs, but those are still in isolation. Well, as isolated as they can be here. There is not much space left as we can see. The prop boxes and the lower shelf will get additional light, like the one that I did there, just small 8-watt light, nothing too special. I have put my multifloras here, which you may not be able to see all that well. I will change the angle, but I'm not really sure. I'm thinking I'm gonna put you in the closet, to be quite frank. Ironic, right? You are actually in my closet right now. I wish I was joking, but I'm not, and it's kind of working out. It's a tight space. You can see the door. Bye. You can get a better look of what this looks like. It's kind of like a vertical space. It's hard to see. So let me just do a little bit of this so you can see what's happening on the bottom. So we have a couple of multifloras here, a couple of aeroids. I have moved these big Hoyas here as well. I will change the angle once again. And we have Hoyas all the way until the bottom. Again, those two levels are going to get additional light. And then, of course, as you know, I left the light on top. So it is, I think it's as wide as the tent actually, but it's obviously much easier for me to walk in here and be amongst my plants, you know, water them, etc. I can knock stuff over, as always. That we have to leave that possibility, right? I did want to talk to you about something that I noticed. I've been doing some thinking, which is always a bad thing. I've been doing some thinking, and something that I noticed on my Hoya is that when I remove them from these spaces like the cabinets and the tent, and I have noticed this in several Hoyas that have had mealybugs, it's much easier to get rid of them, of the mealybugs. It happened on several Hoya. I can't say that it happened on all of them, so it's not really a rule, but something that I noticed is that, yeah, some Hoyas that I was struggling with a lot in the tent, I moved them out. When I say struggling, I mean in terms of mealybugs and mealybug management. I moved them out of the tent, and in a couple of sprays, I got rid of them. So I think that both in the cabinets and in the tents, what's happening is that we have this space, these spaces, these nooks and crevices where the mealybugs hide, and I can't get rid of them. They just re-infestate from the headquarters. It doesn't happen as much in the cabinets, because I can do a better job of cleaning those, but with the tent, there's just so many folds, etc., and then it becomes more difficult. But I do hope that it will become a little bit more manageable to take care of the mealybugs here. And as I said before, I can always, if I don't like this, I can always undo it. I can always put the tent back. I'm not throwing away the tent. I'm not selling the tent. I'm not gifting it. I'm just gonna keep it folded in the storage, and yeah, we can just see if we will need it again. I will also see if this light is gonna work out like this. So they are overall, I think, now getting less light than before. And light isn't as unpleasant as I was fearing it would be. So that's a good thing. It's not too overwhelming. I mean, there's now tons of light everywhere in my room, and I can essentially grow whatever, wherever. I do like it. I think it's the anthuriums that really pull this together, even though they do have thrips and need to be treated again. And then, we will have Hoyas on this shelf as well. In terms of humidity, I have not measured what the humidity is. I can tell you it's not insignificant. There is definitely higher humidity overall in the room because I have noticed condensation in my window. We will just see how they do. I'm interested to see sometimes Hoyas, when you change their environment, it can go both ways. They can stop growing or they can surprise you by growing even better. So we'll see what happens. I think overall in the room the humidity increased, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to find a way to deal with that. I do have a dehumidifier which I need to set up, and then also from a different angle, it doesn't look bad. Oh, I don't know, do we see anything behind that philodendron? I don't know, I think it's giving real jungly vibes. What I do like about this is maybe very architectural, but there are layers to the plants and layers to this jungle. So we have the aeroids, and then in the back it's no longer just the tent, but there's like a layer of Hoya. I think it's very interesting, and I think it's gonna look good in the videos. It's still a little bit messy everywhere. I am waiting for some things to arrive from IKEA, and then I will give you a tour of the entire room, but not a plant tour. It will just be like you will see plants, obviously, but it's not going to really be a plant tour. Maybe eventually I will do a Hoya tour, though. I always plan to do a Hoya tour towards the end of the year, and then a bunch of them croak and some of them start to look bad. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm not gonna show my shame now. I think overall I'm pretty happy. I would like perhaps a little bit different shelves, maybe more aesthetically pleasing, but those are not easy to find. Modular shelves that you will be able to adjust and that look at the same time aesthetically pleasing. I will have to water the Hoyas more frequently now, and I think it's going to become a little bit easier. I even watered some of them today, and I watered them 3 or 4 days ago, which is crazy. I never water Hoyas on schedule. I even watered my cabinets today, and they were not dehydrated. They were not paper thin. What the heck is happening? Am I gonna start watering Hoyas before they reach the paper thin, leaving to the another realm stage? Potentially. These need to be watered. They have not been watered since the repot, these aeroids, and they're looking good. I think it's time to water them now. And yeah, it's been, 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. They really should be watered. So anyway, I'll end this section right here. I'm sure I'll have something to add. This can be it. I always have things to add. I would like to take some time to thank all of my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons, my 2 anonymous patrons, Alex von Siebenthal and Margaret Moon, Andrea Cherish, Angela Bernard, Anna Malia, Anna P. Aspen Drake, Betsy Brett Noble, Katie Revert, Catherine Molina, Connie Pagano, Crystal Despain, Daniela Danube Daniels, Daria W, Deanne Sikorsky, Edith W, Elena Saxon, Ellen, Farah Francis Wilkins, Gathering Moss, Gina Geisig, Rositz Kyle, Hannah Matlin, Hoji Scott, Into the Forest, Yana Griffin, Jen C, Jessica Caccio, Jody D. Gomez, Jonas Barr, Hjorth Larson, Cara, Catherine P., Casey Gross, Kelso, Kimberly Polka, Christy Ehrlich, Laura Castle, Al Lindbergh, Lee Mooney, Lucas Zerchevsky, Mandy Milliken, Marcel Har, Maria Zakova, Marina Yarmovich, Marty Miller, Melissa Walker, Michelle Heron, Mirka Grun Roos, MJW, Moa Edmond, Miss Seidenhar, Anna Nayli Yang, Nicole Maroney, Nangue, Nita Macy, Odette, PJ, Sykes Sarah, Rachel Peterson, Rebecca C., Renee Church, Sharon Bones, Starla Von Lith, Subi Cordekangas, Tessa Martins, Thomas Marsden, Tia B., Trista Bailey, Tristan Thomas, Vampire Siren, Van Alien, Xenia Green, Youth of the Balmud, Zaira Rivera, Zlakov Niponi, and A Flower. A big thank you to my $3 patrons: Botany Benz, Kilone, Darryl Del Rosario, Eden Corlett, Holly Borner, Ivy, Joanna, KPZ, Lindsay Ann, Maria Isabel, Monica Wykers, Nerdy Kathy, O'Here Plants, Ringlov, Tangwatan Nisria Cool, VH, and www.myhoya.shop. And a thank you to my $1 patrons: Alice Borland, Ann C., Brandon Pacheco, Couture Helvetica, Deepanjali Rao, Amelia Bronson, Jolie Sullivan, Julie Lafford, Kayla Vavra, Kelly Ash, Kelly Gallagher, Chris Perez, Laura Jackson, Lorianne Subramanian, Luzmin Fernandez, Mary Diamond, Mary Rose, Amelie Spicer, Nerdy Kathy, Olivia Chin Mueller, Pacific Northwest Plant Lady, Pax Slydig, and Steph Fox.